Hi everybody, welcome to Sharon's Home and Garden channel. So now that the garden is all planted, I have to address a few maintenance issues. That is what we're going to take care of today. One of the places that I've been neglecting is the paths here. I'm in my raised bed garden, and I flame weeded it once, but I don't think I got down deep enough. So I'm going to do it again, and then I'm going to put more mulch down in hopes that that keeps these paths fairly clear of weeds. So let's take a look at how we do that. One of the things I have done is I have raked up the wood mulch that was here because I don't want to start a fire, and I have a hose nearby just in case something happens, and so I am ready to start doing this. There it is, all done. Once you get used to the trigger on that thing, it's not too bad. These are weeds I pulled up here. Threw them down. So, Ellie, are you inspecting the garden? And this is, I raked some of the mulch that I had here in this one area. We will see how it does. It seemed to get everything. Now I have to put more mulch down. Here is the finished mulched path. I now have about 3 or 4 inches of mulch down. And that should keep the weeds away. In addition to providing water for the birds, I also provide water for the bees. I've got this little planter here, and I filled it with stones. These happen to be decorative stones. You could do any kind of stones. And then I fill it with water. And you want to make sure that the stones stay above the water so the bees can get to the water. And then I just make sure that this stays full, because this water evaporates pretty fast. And you can see the bees can rest on the stones and get to the water. One of the things I look for as I'm going around the garden is discoloration. And you can see this tomato has some pretty light leaves on the bottom, but the leaves on the top seem okay. Same with this one here. See the light leaves on the bottom? Ones on the top okay. Also, what I'm noticing here is the veins are starting to really stand out. And it's not real bad right now. So we're expecting rain tonight and tomorrow. And I went around and put some Epsom salt, you can see it here, around the bottom of these tomato plants. And I gave them a general fertilizer, like a 5-5-5 fertilizer. And that'll have a chance to soak in with the rain. And then that should correct it pretty quickly. So that's one of the things you want to look for as you're going around tending your garden. Here is a couple weeks later. As you can see, the new growth on this little bush tomato is really good. There's no sign of the veining in these. It's even flowering. I don't know if you can see that or not. If there it is. This one is flowering too. This is the other one that was looking sickly. This is called Dr. Witchy's. And the lower leaves still have a little browning on them, but the top looks very healthy. So I'm very happy with the progress of these tomato plants. Other maintenance around the garden, I just go and I look at, like, this tomato could just use a little support. So I'll go get a clip for that. So there we go. I've just clipped it to the fence to keep it from falling over. And what I will do is go down the row. This one could probably use a clip as well. See if I could do this one-handed. Now that it's a little bit warmer, let me get out of your way here. These are really growing fast. You can see this one's leaning a little bit. And keep an eye on that. So I just slowly walk through and look at all of them and make sure they're all trellised up. Ones you really have to keep an eye on are the cherry tomatoes. And these three plants here, there is 1, 2, 3, are all cherry tomatoes or cherry type tomatoes. So they will just take off on you overnight. So I really kind of keep an eye on them. Make sure they don't do anything they're not supposed to. So this genius idea, I cannot take credit for. How many of you watch YouTube channel called Castle Hill Garden. It's a gardener out of the UK, an older gentleman who, but I believe he used to do landscaping and for a living. So he's very knowledgeable, and he came up with this. And he uses this for his like vining plants. And what you do is you put this bottle, it's just a 2-liter soda bottle, cut off the bottom and put a stake in, and then put the bottle over it. This is loose. And then as the plant gets bigger, and this one will climb, but the leaves will just fill out. Sometimes it gets very difficult to figure out. Let me see. It gets very difficult to figure out where the root of the plant is. You know, where is the beginning of the plant? And this way you can pour water in here and it will go directly to where the stem of the plant originates. Isn't that a brilliant idea, Macy? So I sat down. This is what happens when I sit down. You know, you are not helping. Okay, I don't want any kisses. So I thought, when I saw that, I was like, that's brilliant. That's just brilliant. I have company. Oh, and my hat fell off. So I need to do the rest of these on this row. It's really early. I mean, it's been so cold here that things just haven't been growing. Just in the last week, things have started to grow. So I have a little bit of time left before I have to worry about losing the base of the plant or the root of the plant. So here's a good example of what I look for as I'm walking around. These are Japanese cucumber plants, Japanese long cucumber. And you can see they're just starting to put out their little gripper things. I don't know what they're called. So I ended up taking this and clipping it to the fence to kind of help it grab. And it worked. You can see right here. It worked because this has now grabbed on to the fence. So I've done this one over here as well, just to kind of keep them on the fence. And as they grow, now when it's warm out, cucumbers can grow a foot a week. And we're going to keep our eyes on these as they start to grow now that it's warmed up. And make sure that they grow up the trellis. Like this one here will be the next one that will tie to the fence. But we don't have to do that quite yet. Now this cucumber plant has started to put out its tendrils. Tendrils, that's what they're called. And here you can see, you see that? It's just starting to grab on. So I'm not going to worry about this one because I think he'll grow toward the fence. But this one is leaning away from the fence. And it's not quite tall enough. But we're going to put one on there just so that this will start grabbing on. Now I've taken care of that plant to make sure that it doesn't grow too much this way away from the fence, and it continues to grow toward the fence. Someone told me they wanted a side view of the garden. So here it is. Except my tree is in the way. Now last week, these purple potatoes, blue potatoes, were flowering. And you can see the flowers are dying back. And the other thing I've noticed too is the foliage is starting to turn yellow. Yep, it's starting to turn yellow. So these plants are starting to die back. Which means we're closer to potatoes. I don't know if this blue is showing up on screen like it is here. But it is just the most beautiful blue. Just stunning. I noticed that my nicotiana is flowering. And the first Cosmo. And the zinnias. Here's some more nicotiana. The bees should love those. Zinnia. And these are just ready to start blooming. In these beds here, there really isn't much to do right now. Just keep an eye on the tomatoes. I need to trim the bottom of this one and the bottom of that one. This one on the bottom, it is also touching the ground. I need to trim that off. But I like to go in here and just pull some of this grass. I mean, I can't get it out, but that's basically the only kind of maintenance I have. Here we go. Smell? Oh, it's like perfume. So beautiful. Peppers look good. This is my last flat of stuff I have to plant. And I believe that's extras. Yarrow is just about ready. To start blooming. You can start seeing the colors. In here with the beans and the peas. I just kind of look at the weeds and make sure that the weeds are down. And in this bed, this blasted grass. A few little weeds. There's another one. Sunflowers are really getting big. And this Ella campaign is also big. Look how much these squash have grown. in a week. I thought they were gonna die because they just didn't seem to grow. So I'm really happy about that. My little lychee tomato plant is getting thorns. So all those seem to be doing okay. And this bed, which is my herb bed, requires the most amount of maintenance. I trimmed off the cilantro because it had bolted. And then in here, we get these little tiny weeds like this here. And I use a trowel and I just go in here and get it weeded, just disturb their roots and they'll go away. There's some more I missed. You can either pick them or get a trowel in there. So that bed requires the most amount. Let's see this. This is flowering. I don't want it to flower. Squirrel Patrol. One of my favorite things to do on a summer's day is hang my sheets out. These are gonna smell so good when I go to bed tonight. I just love it. I haven't done anything with this bed in a really long time. It kind of is in the shade most of the day. So it's a perfect place for some impatiens. And this whole thing will be filled in by the end of the summer. What a cute little bed. That's all I have to do today. Actually, I've been puttering around the yard all day. I have a trailer full of mulch and compost, and I finally got that emptied out so I can take that back to work. I've just been pulling weeds and sticking a plant here and there and not really, just kind of taking care of a few things that needed my attention. Mowed the lawn, all that kind of stuff. Did my laundry, well, at least the sheets, and just kind of keeping track of everything here in the garden. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you have any questions, please post them down in the comment section below, and if you feel so inclined, please click on that subscribe button. And until next time, I will see you back here in the garden. Happy gardening, everybody. Bye-bye.